Hi guys, I wanted to do a VR to Kelly Bear's hashtag My Magical Style. Now if I look down, I did kind of write a couple of notes to kind of talk about what she kind of touched on. I'll definitely leave her video below. So she talked about how she really didn't do a whole bunch of like high magic, ceremonial things. And I have to say, like, I'm with her on that. Structure is not something that I would ever call my craft. Just because I flow with this very intuitively. I go with what feels right. I pull from a ton of different sources. Not only with things that I have, read and researched, things that come from within me, but things that also come from my ancestors and my culture. So I kind of pull a whole bunch of stuff. If there's a ceremony to it, it's because I have decided that there should be one kind of idea. I'm not Wiccan. I don't really follow any kind of structure. Like I said, I feel like that's more in the realms of religion, in which I don't feel a pull to. As far as for like the systems I use, I definitely use tarot in my workings, along with a lot of candle magic. Like that's kind of my jam. I love candle magic because I feel like if I'm in a pinch, if I'm like, oh, you know what, I should probably do something, I will light a candle. Like that's kind of my go-to thing. I like all the different colors, all different oils and stuff that go on them, dressings, things like that. I love to do candle magic. Not only that, I guess you would kind of put me in the realm. I mean, obviously I'm an eclectic witch. Like that's kind of the long and short of it, because I kind of touch on quite a few different things. Because I also do a bit of like hedge witchery, in that I adore making things for healing, for bettering, for soothing, if you will. Like I love to create different balms and salves and liniments and tinctures and things of that nature to help with pain and anxieties and all different sorts of things. Just like the one that I had made the other day on one of my other videos for fatigue. I just love to do things like this because I feel like it flows very naturally from me. And that is kind of a part of my heritage. I do believe I've mentioned before that my grandfather was a traiteur who was a healer, a Cajun healer. He did a lot of that through prayer. But we all know our little Cajun remedies that kind of flow along the lines of witchcraft, although they would never call them that. But we all know it is. What else? I do a little bit of sigil magic. I do quite a bit, like I said, a lot of oils, herbs, things of that nature. I love doing ritual baths. That's kind of a big thing for me as well, because I feel like, that encompasses a lot of things: candles, herbs, oils, elements, fire, water, air, earth, all culminating into one thing. So I love doing bath stuff. What else? Oh, yeah, art. Oh, yeah. I do a ton of work with art and crafts. I'm like an arts and crafts witch, right? I do a ton of stuff because behind, especially my acrylic painting, I had to go and gather that. I didn't bother gathering all that before I started talking. So yes, like a few of my acrylics, when I do acrylic paintings, have incantations, spell work, sometimes automatic or light writing underneath. And I will just kind of let it flow as I did for this one. This started off completely different, but turned into an eye. So behind there is quite a bit of light writing. And then there are some times where I will kind of put forth what I am asking for or what I am working on or whatever that may be. And I like to kind of bless, if you will, my supplies and then just kind of put forth something and see what I see. Sort of like scrying, I guess, if you will, but with art. So I will do inks in my art. Like this is my boiled paper. I like to use that because it feels like extra special to me. So there's a lot of art that I'll do on paper that I have kind of altered. And I will do kind of ink blots. And for me, it kind of answers or puts me in the right direction as to whatever working that I was doing. For this one, for me personally, I see a forest and some trees. Like the line here, the trunk, the tree branching out here. And then like walking into the forest with all these colors. So like different things like that. I love to do sort of art magic is kind of one of my favorites. Something that I'm in the process of working on. Some of you may have seen last night, Becca posted she posted a video of the package that I sent her, and she showed my art of Hecate that I made for her. And I'm kind of in the middle of doing something a little similar, as in like it is of Hecate, but a little more of like a personal use, things like that. So I will make just little designs like this. I do a lot of mixed media because I feel like I can pull what I need from it. So I do a lot of art magic. Craft wise, again, I consider my oils a bit of a craft. I make a lot of salts, as you've seen before. I do bath salts and bath teas and such. But I also do wheels. I call them a witch's wheel. I do have a lot of Native American, not that you can see, in my heritage, especially on my dad's side. And I feel like this is a way for me to kind of express and connect with that. So I make a lot of wheels. Like this one is for Yule time, where I will weave and put intentions or workings or whatever I feel drawn to do, with little offerings as well. So that's another way that I work with magic. I'll also do witches' ladders. I love the art of like the weaving, because I feel like it allows me to sit with what I'm doing and really pour a lot of energy in it, whether that be for myself or for someone else, because I do a lot of these things for others as well. So I feel like this is a great way to really get... What's on my floor? Oh, it's just part of the floor. I saw this right there at the bottom, right there, and I thought it was something on the floor. Sorry, I got distracted. So I don't know what I was saying. So yes, that's what I love to create things. I love to weave things. It gives me, like I said, a lot of time to put, what I'm trying to do within, a lot of my energy. I also work with crystals. I have a shit ton of crystals on my desk. I have amethyst. I have quartz. I have calcites and aquamarines, rose quartz, fluorite. I have howlite tower. I have my smoky quartz. I have selenite. Do you hear all this movement? I'm so sorry. Selenite here. I have a Super 7. As you can kind of see, it's probably going to be hard to see in that light. Another amethyst point. Let's see. What else do I have right here? Another little smoky quartz. Then I have a crystal triangle shelf that's behind my camera. And in those jars right there. So I use a lot of crystals as an aid to whatever it is I'm doing, or if I'm sitting reading, then I will pull a lot of crystals that kind of correspond. Like, am I trying to use this for shadow work or divination or whatever I'm trying to pull? I will use corresponding crystals to help me along. And I do love to burn incense, including loose incense for like the herbs and stuff. Kelly also talked about how she is not a huge stickler on like, this can only be placed in this spot and this can only be used for this. I'm not either. I am totally not. I will use whatever knife I want, whatever scissors, whatever lighter, whatever. I'm not super strict on those kind of things, because I feel like in practical magic, you have to be practical. And that's kind of what I do. I'm very practical in what I do. Not to say that there aren't some things that stay on my altar that I only touch, but it's very few and far between, because I feel like it has to be accessible. And the last thing I want to do in my practice is put restraints upon myself where then I start to have that negative self-talk when it comes to my practice. I feel like that's super counterproductive. I did that wrong and maybe I didn't, whatever. Like, I'm not putting excess pressure. And I'm very lenient on myself. If I see that something isn't working, or I feel like things have shifted, I will alter and reset. It's not something that I'm like, fuck this, it didn't work, everything is stupid. Like, no, I definitely don't do that. I'm not hard on myself when it comes to my magic. I do what works. I learn from what doesn't work. And having said that, I don't use an extreme amount of other people's material. Not to say that I don't draw from some of the things that I read in books and some of the spells that I have seen. I 100% do. I think we all have to start somewhere. But even from jump, I've always been super intuitive as to what I'm doing. If something just doesn't feel right, I won't do it. I won't say it. So while I do welcome and use and read portions of others people's spells or spells that they have, I will often alter them in some way, shape, or form to where they become more mine and where I feel like I've had a part in what I'm doing. That could be removing their incantation. I'm gonna say something really like kind of silly, but I do not like something that rhymes. Not in my magic. Very rarely in my magic. And here's why. Because I feel like, for me personally, it makes me feel as though I'm just playing pretend with some Disney witchcraft. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use it. I'm not saying that it isn't a powerful tool, because it very much is. For memory, a rhyming anything, you know, whether that be a poem, an incantation, a spell, if it rhymes, it's very easy to remember. It's a very good memory tool. We did that a lot in acting class. I'm just saying, for me personally, I do not feel my magic benefits from a rhyming incantation, because of the way it makes me feel. I just don't care for it. So that is rarely found in my magic. My incantations come more in the form of, I guess you would almost say like a prayer, if you will, or affirmations or statements. Is kind of where I go with that. What else? What else did I write down? Rules, tools, labels. So yeah, I do a bit of ancestral magic. It's something that I've actually started doing a little bit more, especially considering what I did this Samhain. It was definitely another layer to it. The ancestral magic that I usually do, or that I've done, has been more in accordance with just remedies and different things from my culture. So the Cajun culture. So like different things, like if you have pains in your legs, cramps in your legs, you sleep with your shoes that you wore that day crossed underneath your bed. Little things like that, that I've learned from my grandparents, my parents, aunts, uncles, that have been passed along through generations, and some of which are known throughout the Cajun culture. But my family did have quite a few little bits and bobs that I do still go with, and certain things that the way that I speak, the way that I kind of perform certain rituals have a lot to do with my Cajun culture. So that's also a huge part, as well as the native portion of my culture. My dad's told me so many stories about his great-grandmother, who was a beautiful native woman, and the things that she used to tell him and do with him, that have kind of come through down to me, which I treasure very much so. So yeah, that's kind of my crazy eclectic style. So I hope that didn't sound like a whole load of horse shit. I was just kind of rambling about what my magical style was. So hopefully that's a good enough VR and didn't sound, like I said, like a whole bunch of mush. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to continue to watch my videos. I try to put out one at least once a week, sometimes more. And I have a whole bunch of links down there where you can find me on Instagram, book a reading, see weekly readings, and join in our conversations on my Facebook page. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Much love. Bye.